Have you ever noticed that it's hard to get duct tape off a cat? See, what happened was my cat Roger was messing in my plants, kicking the dirt all over the place, and I heard that you could toilet train a cat. And so I took Roger and I held him over the toilet, and he wouldn't go. So I got duct tape. And I duct taped Roger to the toilet seat with his legs kind of strapped in the seat. And then I went and watched TV. In a minute there was a knock on the door. It was my new neighbor from down below. And she asked me if I would help her hook up her DVD player. And she was showing pretty good cleavage, so I said yes. And after I hooked up her DVD player, she gave me coffee and cookies. While I was eating one of the cookies, I could feel kind of a hair in my mouth there. And then I remembered Roger. And I ran back home. When I got home, Roger was not happy. So I peeled the duct tape off the toilet seat, but I couldn't get it off from his arms. So I put Roger in my car. We drove down quickly to the all-night animal hospital down the road. When we got there, we were greeted by this woman who I will call Animal Nurse. I went and explained everything, what had happened to Animal Nurse. There were a couple other people in there waiting ahead of us with a couple of dogs, and the dogs were barking, and Roger was quite scared, and I was holding Roger, and I put Roger on the counter. Animal Nurse went, zipped into the back, came out with this guy wearing a smock, who was kind of trying to look like a doctor, I think. And I thought, well, he's not a real doctor. So I called him Semi-Doctor. Semi-Doctor told Animal Nurse to go in the back and get some hair clippers. While she was doing that, one of the guys said, "Hey, I was here first," and I was saying, "Can't you see this is a duct tape emergency?" After a while, Animal Nurse came back with the hair clippers, and Semi-Doctor was cutting the hair off of Roger. And then a couple of cops showed up. And one of the cops says, as they do, "What seems to be the problem?" And Animal Nurse said, "Well, what?" Cop walked over and looked at Roger being clipped there. And then one of them got on the phone to the police station. Started talking. And the dogs kept barking. It's not very much fun right there. And then I heard the cop who was talking to the police station say, can I have your driver's license, please?" "Driver's license?" "Give me my driver's license." A minute later he said, "You can't drive your car, you don't have, your insurance has expired." And I went, "Great." Then I heard Semi-Doctor talk to Animal Nurse and ask her to go in the back for something else. And it sounded like an injection, a needle or something like that. The other cop asked Semi-Doctor if he could help himself to coffee. And when he did, I saw the other cop walk over. I saw that the coffee machine had been repaired with duct tape. So I started to give a little speech about how wonderful duct tape was, and no one was really listening very much. Animal Nurse came out. Semi-Doctor gave an injection to Roger. And just before Roger closed his eyes, I could see him look at me with a look like, "I'll get you." Closed his eyes. The dogs stopped barking. I think the dogs had thought that Roger had died. They were quiet. They got very quiet in there, except for the sound of the clippers buzzing away. And when I accidentally stepped on one of the dogs. After a while, it was all over. The police left. Oh, before the police left. The cop who was talking to the police station hung up and said to Animal Nurse, Well, if it's for training purposes, it's not illegal. An animal nurse walked over real fast like that, and then she walked back real fast and said, well, it should be. It was all over finally. We left. And I smiled at animal nurse at that point, but she did not smile back. As I started walking home, I realized that it takes a lot longer to walk home than it does to drive somewhere, especially when you're carrying an unconscious cat. I had some time to think about things. I got to meet Miss Cleavage. I think she likes me. And then I thought, I better not invite her over until the fur grows back on Roger's leg. And as we kept walking, I realized that I'd have to get insurance on my car. I had to pay semi-doctor $273, and he's not even a real doctor. As we got closer, Roger started to wake up. We got into my apartment. I looked at the mirror beside my door. I held Roger awake. I didn't think he was ready to see himself right then. And I looked in the mirror, and I thought to myself, as I looked in the mirror, sort of looking in the mirror, but around this long strip of duct tape. I thought to myself, you know, duct tape is good for a lot of things, but it's not good for everything.